Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at another rank 1 and with us of course it's another legend team here for the Open Great League. This team going to be from Snots. Congrats to you two hitting rank 1 in the world with this pretty cheap team, I have to say. Like honestly, like for most people this is a very affordable team which you don't really see that often, at least in the Open Great League. For like those high up teams you usually have like something like LilyNiRiain or whatever XL that are very expensive, but here like the most expensive Pokemon and most inaccessible Pokemon is most likely the Dragonite, but Dragonite or like Dratini was available as a cliff encounter until like 3 months ago or something, so most people are going to have this Pokemon built anyway, and even if you need to build it still and you have this Pokemon already without frustration, you're going to be able to just build it fairly cheaply. I mean, yeah, 90k for the secondary charge move is quite a lot, don't get me wrong, but you barely need anything to power it up because it's like level 16 or something, which is kinda mad. So otherwise, Greedent is a Pokemon that you also don't have to power up that crazy high, but also only need 10k for the secondary charge move, and like if you don't have a Lantern yet, like what are you doing for Go Battle League? So this team, very easily, it's accessible here as well, which is kind of cool. And I have to say this worked out pretty well, so I would really recommend you to try this team out. But it's also a team that kind of needs a little bit of practice with, and you should not really throw it away immediately if it doesn't work in the beginning. And there are some other things that I also kind of noticed with this team, which we're going to talk about in this video as well, so definitely stay tuned as you're going to be able to win this first battle fairly easily. Next opponent, we're going to have here a regional winner. Actually, I think he won the regional where I was as well in Bremen. Even though, okay, that regional was kind of screwed over because like I got eliminated basically twice because the game was broken against me, which is kind of nice. But like basically, like when this tournament happened, it was like basically one of the earliest tournaments here in Europe. But what I have to say, basically it was like so bad in terms of the organization of it all still. Nowadays it's like not really a big problem, but for example, like I was basically all the time on stream for those battles, so it's kind of rare, but they just picked me the entire time. And I had so much like on my side, but like the judges were not able to actually look at the battles back in the day because they were just not the infrastructure for it, so I got completely screwed in this tournament. I think it was this tournament which he won, maybe he won even another one afterwards, but yeah, basically back in the day, tournaments where I still went to were kind of wild. Nowadays it's a little bit better organized, so like it's not really a big issue there, but back in the day that was kind of a Wild West thing. But anyways, we're gonna see here the Dragonite going to go up against the Cresselia. And what I really want to talk about is Greedent here. Greedent, of course, is like kind of the star of the show because like basically a Pokemon that you barely really see in the Go Battle League, and how did he hit rank 1 in the world with it? I don't think he used the moveset that I'm using here right now. I'm not too sure about it, of course, because he didn't post the moveset of Greedent as far as I know, but I think Crunch would be better. I would not go for Trailblaze in this meta, and this is a meta where water types are basically everywhere. There are good reasons for it, and we're gonna take a look at this one today as well here, but as you can see, I can still go for a Thunderbolt against the opponent to win this one, and we can move on to the next opponent. So basically, why would you want to go for Crunch over Trailblaze? Trailblaze does make a lot of sense on paper, being able to beat something like a Lantern a little bit easier, or completely destroying something a Whiscash is very important. But if you take a look at the team comp, basically, your lead is going to be a Pokemon that is very good against Whiscash already, and so do you really need Trailblaze as a coverage? You're going to most likely bait out something like a Whiscash with your Greedent or whatever, but like it's not really needed. And so the other thing is, a lot of times this team would be double weak to Skarmory, and Skarmory kinda would only like to get hit by Crunch because Body Slam is resisted, Mudshot is resisted, Trailblaze is double resisted, and so I feel like that they most likely also were running Crunch. Here of course we're just going to stick with Trailblaze throughout the video, but I feel like Crunch is going to be the better play to go for in this meta, which I did not really realize before. I just went for basically what people suggested to me, and so I would say Trailblaze is still very decent, but for this team, Trailblaze is most likely not really usable, and so I would definitely recommend you to go for Crunch over this. And also, I had a lot of times where I ended up against something like a Cresselia, for example, where Crunch would have been also really great. So Crunch would be most likely the better move to go for on this Pokemon, just to be a little bit safer against Skarmory, just to be, in general, a little bit safer against the current meta. Here we swap out at the same time, which is kind of annoying because I didn't really want this to happen, and so the opponent sadly just going to be able to farm me down, go for a Body Slam and win this game, but it is what it is. Maybe we can win the next one. Body Slam going to knock me out, and let's move on to the next opponent. We're going to have here the Dragonite against against Annihilate Great Force. They swap out into the Skarmory and they decide to forfeit. Goodbye there. Next opponent, Sensage in the lead. pretty bad. Usually people go for 6 fast moves on the Sand Slash, that's why I kind of want to go up to the Dragon Claw, but they actually went straight for their Ice Punch, which is kind of unusual. The thing is, basically, you need 7 fast moves from the opponent to get you a superpower on your own. So basically, if they go for 6, they're still safe that they're never gonna get hit by a superpower. That's why I kind of expected them to go for 1 extra, but it doesn't really matter because we were able to get the shield back anyway. In comes, of course, our Greedent, and here the opponent went already for a charge move against us. They swapped out into the Mantine, and so their switch clock is going to be unaligned, and this is going to be amazing because we of course have the best answer for the Mantine in the back here with the Lantern, which maybe the opponent actually knows about as well already because his team is kind of predictable. So most likely it is going to be a fairly decent one for us to just let this move go through, try to swap out and see where we're gonna be able to go with that. And yes, we can just swap out and farm them all the way, which is going to be great. And in comes again a Sand Slash, and with them swapping into me here right now, I would imagine that they might be a little bit weak against me in the back. And so what I decided to go for is just use a shield here and try to farm them down. So let's see, the opponent gonna go for a drill run, totally fine. At this point I thought I still had a shield left, but I didn't, and so they can still reach another drill run, which was kind of unfortunate, but let's find out what they have in the back. It's going to be a Mandibuzz, and so we can go for the super effective Thunderbolt, which hopefully does enough to put them into red health. Not even close. I thought it would do way more damage than it actually did here. But I guess Mandibuzz is so insanely bulky that even a super effective Thunderbolt is barely going to touch it. But we can still go ahead and go into our Dragonite, we can go for a Dragon Claw, and so we can definitely get enough damage onto them that we can go for another combo play here, go for the Greedent. But they actually still have a Pokemon in the back, which I completely forgot, but I still was able to farm down, but I was like so surprised that there was another Pokemon swapping in. Great lead for our next matchup. Here we're gonna see the Dragonite from the opponent come in, and I just decided to go for the full farm now, which was kinda smart. What was not kinda smart is what I'm gonna do next. I decided to go straight for the Dragon Claw, and it does not really make any sense at all. I should have went for the Superpower instead, which would have been so much better for me, and would have changed the entire match. And now you think, why does he go into Greedent? Good question, because basically I know that my Lantern is going to be great against both of the opponent's Pokemon. My Greedent is going to be okay with energy against the Poliwrath. So basically I just try to go for some extra energy on my Greedent in order to use it later on. And again, if I had Crunch on my Greedent, I most likely would have been fine here already, because I would have been able to do some damage against the opponent's Skarmory. And this is something that I just realized when I did those battles. That's why it's kind of important to also kind of adjust the teams accordingly when you just play them for a little bit. But here, as you're gonna see, they're gonna go for the Icy Wind, which is a little bit annoying. We can go still for one Thunderbolt. This is going to be able to get the final shield here from the opponent. We can still try to go for the full farm down, but they can still reach here the Scald, which is really annoying for us. We swap out and we can at least knock them out now, but they got an extra counter in, I think, and this is going to be actually coming in clutch for them, because as you're gonna see, the opponent's kind of forced to go for the full farm down here, and we still have Body Slam spam. If we had Crunch spam, we would have been so much better off, because we would have easily won this game here, but Body Slam has to kind of do it. Can we still knock them out here? I'm not too sure if this is going to be enough to knock them out. We will find out shortly. It is not. Can we still farm them down? They survive with exactly 1 HP, and they can go for a charge move. So unfortunate. If they didn't get the counter through, I think I would have been fine, but it is what it is. We can move on to the next opponent. Gligar lead. Something that you can win in the 2-shield scenario as a Shadow Dragonite, which is kind of nice, but you have to use 2 shields because they're going to outspeed you. And we can see already, basically 6 of their fast moves is half of their health, so it's not even going to be close for them or anything like this. We're definitely going to be able to farm them down in time if we use another shield. They decided to use a shield here, I decided to use another shield, and so we can align ourselves, which is kind of important for this team as well. So let's see what they're going to go into. They're going to decide to go into the Annihilate. Great for us, as we can go ahead and go for a charge move here. We can count their moves, and hopefully we're going to be able to do a nice combo play here. They sadly get to their move before I get still to another Dragon Claw. The Night Slash is coming through. They don't get the boost, and so I can go into my Lantern. I can counter the Shadow Ball and swap out now into my Greedent. Like, what a smart play this was, right? Best catch of the world? Crazy catch, I would say. What a nice Shadow Ball this was, right? And the crazy thing as well about this is, if I stayed into my Lantern, I would have won this game, because the opponent has in the back a Whiscash, which we had Trailblaze again. Lovely, isn't it? Honestly, it is absolutely mad. Next opponent, we're going to have a Serperior here. Serperior, great lead for us, but they make a great play as well, going into the Carbink, and I was not too sure why I went straight for my charge move as well. Like, there was no real reason for it, so definitely a mistake by me here. Carbink is going to be still a great matchup for us. We can align our Lantern against it. I'm fearing that they're going to have something in the bag where Lantern would be great against though, so yeah, I feel like they kind of want to bait out the Lantern with the Carbing, because Carbing Lantern is kind of still neutral. As you can see here, the Moonblast kind of chunks quite a bit, but the opponent makes an interesting play here, which I would say. They decide to use a shield, which I did not really expect at all. And so we can still reach another charge move, which is going to force another shield from the opponent. And they're still gonna go for another charge move themselves. And I'm like, that's fine for me. Like, I'm totally okay with that. I can swap into my Greedent now, and Greedent just needs a Trailblaze to knock them out, and we have a 2-shield advantage. So even if they have like an Ice type in the back, we can just go for the superpower. But what I expect what they have on the back is very likely the Bastion. So what we can do here is we can let this move go through. It's going to be either a Leaf Tornado, or it's going to be a Leaf Tornado, or it's going to be something like a Frenzy Plant. But in comes the Bastion, and I can still reach the superpower. And I'm fine with that. I know it's not going to knock them out, but I know also that we're going to be able to farm them all the way down now with our Greedent, which has a double super effective Mudshot, of course. And so Body Slam is going to be neutral against the opponent's other Pokemon, against the Superior. We decide to use a shield against the Stone Edge. And so the Body Slam spam is going to be real. We still have a shield advantage, we have an energy advantage. We're going to be able to have a great time here against the opponent. They can, of course, try to get the Leaf Tornado debuffs here, but they should be out of energy at this point. I need 4 more fast moves to get to the next charge move, and so even though they got the debuff here, I will be able to just outspeed them, knock them out with this, and we can move on to the next opponent. Good game there, and we can see what we're gonna go up against next. Vigoroth. This Pokemon is going to be kind of similar like the Gligar matchup. You should be able to win this in the 2-shield scenario, just farming them down based on the damage that we see here so far. But this time around they're going to be a little bit more bulkier, but it's going to be a little bit of a better matchup, I feel like, compared to the Gligar matchup for you. Because here, this is going to be shielded. I can just go for the full farm down. They're going to use a shield here as well. But it's going to be great to not have this Pokemon against our Greedent, but they decide to swap out now into their own Dragonair. And I make a crucial mistake just for no reason at all. I should go into my Greedent, and for whatever reason I fat-fingered into my Lantern here for no reason at all. Like literally, like I did not want to do this, and I wonder if this is going to impact the end result of this game. So like if you just go into your Greedent, you're going to be fine. You can just go for the Body Slam spam, and you're going to be definitely in a great spot there. Here, I still was able to get them low, but not really in a position where I like them to be. So we have to hope there's something in the back that Lantern maybe would have been weak against as well. It is going to be the, let's see, Gligar. We would have been better off with a Lantern here for sure, so that was a very, very crucial mistake by swapping into a Lantern against the Dragonair. I don't know why this happened, but it did happen, and so we kind of have to deal with it, right? Can we still win this game though? It's going to be close, but we're still in a very decent spot. The opponent most likely going to try to catch the next move, but like for me, I still have to go for a charge move anyway against the Vigoroth, and so I was kind of okay with this because I still think that I can just farm them down with a Dragonite no matter what, because we're still gonna get them kind of low here. So I decided to swap out, and we miss out by 1 fast move. Honestly, I could have won this game in so many different ways, so this definitely goes on me. But it is what it is. We can move on to the next opponent here. Final game for the day, we're going to have a Shadow Sableye against us in the lead. A Pokemon I can actually want to take a look at as well again. I feel like it's a kind of interesting Pokemon to play right now. I don't think it's a great meta for Shadow Sableye, I have to say that, because there are quite a lot of Pokemon that do quite a lot of fast move pressure, like Shadow Dragonite, Shadow Dragonair, those kind of Pokemon. So I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a tougher one. And here, for example, you see where Crunch would have been so crucial. Like, Crunch would have been so nice. I decided to go for the Trailblaze here at this point with my Greedent. But you see as well during this video, I barely go for Trailblaze. Like, I really barely go for this because it never really is in a scenario where I can use it. So even against like those water type Pokemon where you kind of want to use Trailblaze, it is better to usually just go for the Body Slam spam, because usually just gonna do not enough damage with the Trailblaze to one-shot them, and like most of the time Body Slam can 2 or 3-shot them, and it's just cheaper to go for. So I don't know, like I feel like really that this impacted the game quite a bit for me, that I didn't have Crunch. I feel like Crunch would have won me at least like 2 or 3 more games. So go for Crunch on Greedent, please do this, please like watch the video actually before going for the team, and it's like, oh, Trailblaze is so bad, why did you let me play this one? But again, like I would go for Crunch over Trailblaze on the Greedent for sure any day of the week. But here we will see a very interesting matchup because the opponent has a Gligar still, and we got them kind of into range for the Surf thanks to the Dragon Flying Breath damage, which is kind of great. And they swap out into the Sableye. This time around, we didn't throw immediately, and so we can overfarm by a little bit. We can go for one more surf, and we can reach another surf afterwards, which is going to be enough to knock them out. And this is going to be it for this video as well. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.